Do you ever feel like your body is always under everyday stress? When your system stays in constant overdrive, it can throw off the way you digest, rest, and think. That's because your body's communication line, the vagus nerve, helps regulate balance between your brain, gut, and immune system. When that connection is strained, it can affect your sense of calm, energy, and overall well-being. That's where pHix comes in. Formulated with our unique matured hop extract, pHix is designed to support healthy vagus nerve activity, helping your body shift from fight or flight to a more relaxed, balanced state. By promoting this natural balance, pHix helps support digestive comfort, mental clarity, relaxation, and metabolic health, so you can feel centered, focused, and at ease. pHix provides targeted support to help your body reset and restore.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's Chris here from the Whistle Stop Cafe in Mirror, Alberta. We're going to do another episode tonight talking about this product that I recently discovered. And last week we had Terry Campy on with us, and he kind of went through what this is, what it's about, how it works, that kind of thing. And we had a really, really good response from it. As a matter of fact, I think there's probably, just from that video alone, there was 16 or 17 people that decided to give it a shot, and some of them have already received their products, and they're liking it so far. And on the on the side of the marketing side, it's working great as it's intended to. The personal testimonies that are coming in from the people that that were on the video originally that I watched when I signed up, they're having fantastic results, and it seems like things are just peachy. So I figured, why don't we continue with this? As I said last week, we're going to continue with it, and we're going to do an episode once a week talking about this, the results, any news, some more information, things like that. And because of that, I brought on another guest, Alison. She's gonna talk about this, kind of the same type of format as what we did with Terry. She'll fill you in on the details, let you know what it's all about, and then we're going to open it up to questions after. But before I bring Alison on, I do want to show you guys something. I did actually take the time to dig in and do some more research, and I put some things all in one place for you. So when you have that burning question, well, where's the studies, where's the science, all these things, I want you to head over to my favorite website, www.whistlestoptruckstop.ca, and go to the blog section. And you can find this blog that I wrote. So what I did is I kind of gave a synopsis of what this is, what we're doing, why this works. I went into the science a little bit with a lot of help from my friend Grok, who also helped me do the research and compile the papers and studies that support this idea. And you can find those down at the bottom of the article. So rather than asking a bunch of questions like that tonight, try and save the questions for different things. And if you have questions about studies and that, you can head over to whistlestoptruckstop.ca, go to my blog section, look for this cool neuron image, and you can read the article and find the research papers there. Much easier than you having to go through the internet and find them all yourself. Although, if you want to do that, go ahead. Feel free to copy paste my article into your favorite AI companion, get them to fact check it, back up the studies, whatever you want to do. I'm sure you'll come to the same conclusions I did, which is it's legit and it's real. It's not some fad. It's an actual legit mechanism and can have results as advertised for many people. So after all that very lengthy intro, I would like to welcome our guest for tonight, Alison. Alison, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us and talk about pHix.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure, and I can't wait to get into this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive right in. I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago that my friend George called me. He said, "Chris, you need to know about this vagus nerve thing. You need to know about this product." And I completely blew him off again. And this was like the fourth time. I said, "No, I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe it." But he kept at it, and I started looking. I attended a Zoom call with a very good friend of mine who happens to be an immunologist, vaccinologist, actually makes vaccines. So he knows the medical industry and science and things. And I watched him go through the white paper and say, yeah, this is legit. It's real. It's a real scientifically backed mechanism. And I don't see why this wouldn't work. So then I decided to try it on my own. Maybe if you don't mind, do you just want to share kind of how you found out about this and why you decided to give it a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, loved your intro. Like, I'm jealous. You have that great video on pHix. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Well, yeah, you're well done. So hi, my name is Alison Beiler. I live in a little town called Charm, Ohio, in the United States, and I'm an herbalist. I'm also like this little country bumpkin out here. But that literally is what got me into this is because this is an herbal extract. And so when I got introduced to this in June of 2024, a good friend reached out to me, and I knew she shouldn't be taking a very particular extract that comes from the hops plant. So the hops extract is a very strong sedative. And so before you go into any other details, I'm just going to say that this is not the hops extract. In fact, if you look that up, you're going to find a completely different outcome than what you're going to find if you look up MHE3, which the world is literally just finding out about. So when I got introduced to this, I literally thought it was snake oil. Because how can an herbal extract, first of all, be colorless, flavorless, and odorless? So everything that I've ever compounded for other people has a really strong taste. It's herbs. And most times you have to take it multiple times a day to have any success. So when this was introduced to me, I was told that this is weight loss. And I'm like, why are we calling this weight loss? And then when I dug a little bit further into it, we have a clinical study that shows that this goes after visceral fat. And if you know anything about how the human body works, or if you don't, I'm gonna dumb it down for you. Okay, so every disease that's out there starts with one very particular thing: inflammation. And inflammation comes from what? It comes from toxins. Where are the toxins coming from? Well, the toxins come from the air you breathe, the food you eat, the water you drink. And where does it go? It gets stored in your visceral fat. So being that this product has been clinically proven to go and burn visceral fat for 9.5 hours, my brain went off like, oh my gosh, this is literally the holy grail. It is the root cause healing for a lot of people. In fact, visceral fat has been responsible for over 200 different illnesses. So this is just the advice and the research done by me, an herbalist. I'm not speaking on behalf of Marketplace Global. I'm literally just myself, and this is what I found to be true. And so I got really excited. So I'm like, this is going to help anybody and everybody. So that's what really got me started here.
That's a pretty interesting story, and I've actually heard that from a lot of people. When I first heard about it, it sounded too good to be true. I kind of brushed it off as snake oil, and I didn't come back to it until later. Well, I'm glad that I decided to dig a little bit deeper on it because I'm already doing pretty good. And there seem to be a lot of people who I've connected with it, and they're excited, and some of them are even seeing results now. So that feels good. But it is, we see a lot of this stuff on the internet. We see a lot of these things. Hey, this is a magic fix. Just have this drink in the morning, and you're going to shed pounds like crazy. And people are posting pictures of their 400-pound life a month ago, and now they weigh 130 30 days later. Like, we see it all the time. How can people even differentiate? How do you separate the fact from the fiction when it comes to these types of things?
So outside of this, well, here's the thing: like, weight loss is a dime a dozen these days. And now, because of the pharmaceutical industry, like, really pushing their agenda with a very quick fix, no pun intended. But that doesn't come without, side effects. If somebody is utilizing that and they're having great results, great. But that's not for me. And so a lot of products out there are what we call Me Too products. There's all kinds of hydration drinks, protein drinks, all the things. And what differentiates one from the other is this either the story behind it or the science behind it or where it's coming from. And so for myself, I speak again on behalf of it, who I am, but trying to like going around your question here, like the noise, weight loss.
The noise, yeah,
is so loud. When you talk about weight loss, you either have weight loss or you don't. And so if you're just focusing on weight loss when it comes to a product, if somebody loses the weight, they're like, great, I'm good. I lost the weight. I'm off of it. Or if somebody didn't lose weight, oh, that product didn't work. And so if you hear the word visceral fat, don't tune us out. Like, we're not talking about weight loss. Have people lost weight on this? Absolutely. 100%. In fact, that's where a lot of people saw me. Like, I lost 5 inches off of my waist in a matter of a couple months. Now I'm 46 years old. I was going through perimenopause when I got started on this. And so when that happens, you usually blow up with inflammation. And so you don't measure your success by the scale. In fact, a lot of people gain weight because this has also been shown to increase muscle mass, increase bone density. And people like myself who go through menopause, your bone density decreases. So this is a huge game changer for people. And how do I know this to be true? Well, I've been in this now for 15 months. I have thousands of people in my organization, thousands of testimonies. People have gotten really in-depth body scans that I have seen before and afters, not just a little picture or whatever, literally in-depth body scans showing the bone density going up, the muscle mass going up. All of the levels are very consistent. Why? Because we're creating an environment in the body called homeostasis.
Yes.
And that's balance.
Yeah. And that's, Terry likes to, he says, it's not about what this does, it's about what it is. Like, it's what it is doing is it's triggering your body to do what your body is supposed to do in the first place. That's the key. It's not some magic elixir that's going to do something in particular. It tells your body to activate its own processes to benefit you. And it seems like the potential benefits are quite numerous. And this is all centered around the vagus nerve. Do you want to, for those that haven't already heard, do you want to maybe go into that a little bit? How does that trigger work? What's the action? What's the mechanism behind the benefits?
Absolutely. So I'm going to retract what you just said, all of these magic elixirs that are supposed to do certain things. So even as an herbalist, I was talking to a naturopath earlier, and it's like, I still symptom treat. I still give people those elixirs to symptom treat, right? And the thing that makes this different is exactly what you're stating. You're turning your body on to do exactly what it's meant to do. Its God-given ability to do healing. Your body is meant to heal. It's the best working machine that was ever created in the planet of the earth if you give it exactly what it needs. So the second component to this product, so if you haven't seen it already, one, you can get it in the snap form. I like it because it's super convenient. You squeeze it, it goes down. In fact, when you do squeeze it, my friends, make sure you go down below the lip of the glass, because sometimes it likes to have little legs that shoot out everywhere. You might get it in your eye or up your nose. So make sure you're down there, or you get it in the bottle. One, this is already pre-measured. I like to utilize that, or you get it in the bottle like this. So when you put this in a beverage of your choice, again, it's colorless, it's flavorless, it's odorless. I give it to my dogs. I give it to my horses. It's safe for anything. And the reason I love it so much is because it's safe for everybody. So the second component, second part of this is that when you put this in a beverage, yes, you want to put it in a beverage. You do not want to take it directly in your mouth unless you swallow water or something right afterwards. You are to swallow it. Why? Because it activates the bitter receptors in the back of the tongue. And those bitter receptors, when they get activated, and all the way down into your digestive tract. So we're working through the small and large intestine. This is then in turn going to activate the largest cranial nerve in the body, called the vagus nerve. So a lot of people know the vagus nerve as the gut-brain axis. That's been huge the last couple of years, right? Like, we were talking about, let's get our gut health online. Gut is the second brain. It's where all the immunity lives. True. But if your vagus nerve is not activated, and it's not doing its job, then a lot of your systems are just weary and dreary. And one very particular system that we like to point out is called the parasympathetic nervous system. This is a very specific system that gets your body out of fright and flight. And this is the system that I notice immediately with my animals. So a lot of people have dogs that are like, my dog hates, one of my dogs, we have a couple, doesn't like to travel. So we give it to the dog and they're like, whoo, I can handle it now. I have horses. Horses are probably one of the biggest animals that are really reactive to fright. They're a prey animal. And so a lot of them are really high strung and anxious. You give it to the horse, it's interesting. They come into this nice, relaxed state. So what do people notice when they get started? Couple things. Their brain fog is gone. They have more focus. They're not so squirrely. They're not looking at this, that, and everything. They can sit down and do one thing instead of having 10 tabs open at one time and not knowing which one to finish. and their digestion is better. So people that didn't go to the bathroom, oh my gosh, that's been a resounding gong like crazy. I was on the phone yesterday with a lady in the early 60s, and she stated that she's only gone to the bathroom before this twice a month, and she thought she was regular. And I'm like, where have you been your whole life? You're in your 60s and you thought that was regular? And she's like, yeah, when I got started on this, she got started back in December. She's like, that was one of the first things for her. She started going to the bathroom every day. Now think about that. We live in a very chronically constipated world. It's crazy to me how many people think that's normal. So it also works on the other side. People that went to the bathroom too much, that have illnesses that cause them to run to the bathroom after they eat. I'm not going to name diseases here, but there's a lot of things that cause people to do that. So people are becoming balanced and regulated. And then you can't put a price tag on sleeping through the night. That's probably one of the first things. And then they just feel happy. That's probably one of the biggest, most heart-touching things is people are like, I just got my wife back. I just got my spouse back. I just got my child back. We have children with all kinds of illnesses that they're on, all kinds of medication for mental illnesses and things. And, they're off of them and they're living and loving life. That's huge. And you can't say that there's a placebo effect here when you're giving it to animals and you're giving it to children. They have no clue what you're giving them. So I know that's a long answer to what's the second part, but the vagus nerve is responsible, like I said, for all 1,100 systems in your body. And when you're not getting that activated, and a lot of people, how else can you activate your vagus nerve? Well, you can cold plunge. Have you ever cold plunged, Chris?
No, thanks. I got challenged to do a cold plunge by a friend of mine, Tamara. She was one of the Freedom Convoy people, and so she challenged me to do this cold plunge. So I said, okay, you know what? If I got to suffer, you're going to suffer. So I bought a mankini, and I was going to do my cold plunge in a mankini, but I just I couldn't do it. I might in the future, but I haven't been able to work up.
So did you stand there in your mankini then while waiting to do the cold plunge, or you couldn't even man up for it?
No, I tried it on home, and I realized that if I did this on a live stream, nobody would watch. So I may as well not do it. But maybe someday. Hey, baby, should I do it? Someday, yeah. She says I should do it. Yeah.
So I did the same thing. I challenged my husband. Some reason I got this great idea at the beginning of 2024. I'm like, we're going to cold plunge. Everybody's talking about it. Let's go do it. So we tried it in the bathtub first. And he's like, so we filled up the whole bathtub with ice and then ice water. And I got in and I submerged. And then he's like, okay, we got to do the real thing. Let's go down to the creek. So it was cold. So I made the whole family go down there. And I was the only one that got in all the way neck. I mean, my one son was a couple feet in. He was out. I mean, that hurts. Mm-hmm. That's not just cold. That bites. So that is one way you can get your vagus nerve activated is cold plunging, because it shocks the system. And it makes the body go into this state where you're burning that brown adipose tissue, which again, the bad fat, it activates it so that your body goes into this state of a really fast burning. Or meditation. And you can meditate, do breath work, and that in turn will also activate the vagus nerve. But then again, you're in it for that moment of breath work, and then you're out of it. So how cool is it that you can take this product and you can stay in that state all day long?
And that's why, from what I've gathered, the results are vastly different for different people, is because it's not actually an intervention. It's just telling your body to do what your body's supposed to do, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's where we go back to earlier. We talk about, the products, the magic elixirs, all the things, all the noise, and they're probably just treating a symptom. And then it's just scraping the surface of what's going on. And that's why people can't wrap their head around this product. They can't understand that when I tell them, okay, we're burning visceral fat. Visceral fat is responsible for holding on to all of your toxins. If you're getting rid of that, think about that. If you get rid of what's causing your body to go into this state of distress or dis-ease, we're not talking about a matter of if this is going to work. We're literally talking about when. Some people have really fast, miraculous results. Some people it takes a couple days, weeks, even months to work through the years of damage the body has gone through. A lot of it is their mind. They may not notice exactly what it's doing, because if I tell somebody this is going for visceral fat, they hear fat, they think they lost. They step on the scale, I'm not losing weight, therefore the product don't work. So I'm like, no, did you hear anything that I said? Did you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, this is helping your body get to a state where it can heal from whatever is bothering it. So you have to understand that. So a lot of times people that have lived in chronic discomfort, they might not even notice when it goes away. You and I think like, how? Well, because it just kind of gradually goes away. And then you have to ask them, remind them, like, didn't that hurt? Doesn't that hurt? Oh, well, it went away. Oh, isn't that interesting? Or, hey, my hair's not falling out anymore. Or, hey, it's growing back. There was a gentleman, he had in his family, he was in his early 20s. He's a personal trainer, and he had a family history of losing hair very early on. And he started this product. It's crazy to watch. Look at his before and after picture. He had all this hair loss going on. And then within, I want to say within like 3 or 4 months, all of it grew back, because
Wow.
it was generational. There was something in his body that caused his body to go into that state of dropping hair. And he also increased about 20 pounds of muscle mass just by putting this into his system. Now, this wasn't like quick. It was like within 6 months, I think he put on 20 pounds, just doing the same thing. Didn't change anything else. So it's crazy once you start to notice things. Some, again, are fast. Some are a little bit longer. You just never know.
I have a kind of an interesting story as to why I was even receptive to something like this at all in the first place. Because I would say 6, 7 years ago, I was very a firm believer in doctors and pharmaceuticals and the industry and science and these types of things. But then we all globally went through a period of time where many of us started to say, wait a minute, things aren't exactly the way we thought they were. It doesn't seem like the health industry is really all that interested in our health. What does that mean? What does it mean for me when I'm trying to be well? And so all these questions came up, and you start asking yourself some things, and we realize the world's kind of trying to kill us. Like, our food's trying to kill us. There's organizations that really don't care if we die as long as we make money. They get our money. And so all these things are kind of bouncing around in your head, and you come to this conclusion that, well, if things aren't what they seemed, and maybe the idea of a health industry isn't necessarily about our health, where do we look? And coincidentally, at the same time, there was a lot of talk about wellness, like specifically wellness. Even Joe Rogan, I watched Joe Rogan. He was talking about gut health, had no idea what he was talking about, dug into a little bit, and I was like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. And the more you peel that onion back, the more you realize that oftentimes the solution for some of our issues, some of our problems, some of our symptoms might actually be easily available. Like, just they're right there, and all we got to do is try it. But the world tells us, oh, that's malarkey, because it doesn't feed the machine, right? So in this case, I was fascinated with the idea that people could take sovereign control of their wellness, along with other things. If you're really concerned about your wellness, you're not just going to take a supplement. You're probably going to make a few lifestyle changes as well. And you can remove yourself from that system that just wants your money, right? And this stuff isn't free, but the price we've been paying health-wise for the last, at least my lifetime, is astronomical. It compared to this.
Well, when you look at like history as a whole, like I could go under, again, I'm an herbalist, so I can go into the whole history, like, of where our health was and where it is today. Like, the medicine bag of a doctor back in even the early 1900s was herbs. It was all herbs. It was plant-based healing. And so it changed during the Rockefeller term. I mean, he
I was
came
just
in.
going to mention that.
We're not going to go through all that because it'll get me on a tangent here, Chris. Like, that gets me fired up, because one of the biggest things, we can go into, like, the cannabinoids and, the hemp industry. We look at the hemp industry as a whole. And that's right when the Rockefellers came in and they said, you know what? If we're not getting rid of hemp, we're going to start growing cotton. And then the people are going to wear the cotton, and we're going to spray the cotton, and we're going to make them sick. And then we're going to go through the whole prohibition thing. And then we're going to change all of what's allowed and what isn't allowed. And we're going to say, and then we're going to make a huge industry out of what? Out of medicine. And now the medicine is actually created first, and then the disease is created. How convenient is that? People don't realize that, because they're all living in this massive box that we're told to do XYZ thing. And if I think outside of the box, I'm wrong. So I better get back in that box, and I feel like I'm safe. Well, what if you actually stepped out of that box and you learn that food is your medicine rather than that medicine be thy food. Hippocrates, I can't say it right now, said it first, and then Thomas Edison reiterated it. You either have to make food be your medicine or thy medicine will be thy food. And that is crazy because so many people nowadays are living on 5, 10, 15, 20 different prescription medications, and they think that's normal. It's so sad for me.
And what makes it even more downright depressing, in Canada, the third leading cause of death in this country is medical error. Medical error. And right up there is pharmaceutical pharmaceutical contraindication related death.
Yep. Yeah.
So, you know, we're told do this, do that. This is the settled science. Just do this. But the third cause of death in the country is an error in that field, and we're supposed to just have all this faith in that. I bet you that my audience, probably 90% of them, feel the same way I did or do now, as in we thought we knew things before something happened in our lives. In my case, it was the events around COVID. Where I started paying attention, and then we kind of opened our mind to other things, and it was difficult in a way and uncomfortable, because once you see these things, once you learn these things, you can't unsee or unlearn them, and then you have to go through the world as that guy or that girl, kind of saying, "Hey, people, wake up and start taking control of your own wellness." You know, it is a little bit of a uncomfortable place to be in, but I think the outcome is a lot better.
Well, absolutely. Well, how about when your whole family is down the medical train and then you're the black sheep and I'm like, I really don't care. You know, like you can take your drugs, you can do your things and go through the quick fixes. But then how many more quick fixes are you going to need until you realize, you know, they think it's crazy. I don't go to a doctor. They think I'm nuts. And if my children ever get anything, you need to take them to the doctor. I'm like, well, they never get sick. And if they do, it's a little bit of a cold. I pump them up with all my stuff because we live with prevention. If you're learning to live with prevention, you're not going to constantly be looking for that Band-Aid to kind of go over it. And then there is really no cure for the common cold. Why? Well, I could tell you why, because it's a parasite. Most people don't realize that all of these viruses, you know, when you go to the doctor, they're like, we can't treat it because it's a virus. If it was an infection, then we can give you an antibiotic for it. But because it's a virus, we can't. Why? Because viruses are all parasites. And a parasite is a living organism. And so what is an antibiotic going to do? Nothing. And so that's why the common cold is always out there. And we can go down more rabbit holes and more rabbit holes, you know, like the flu season. Why do we have a flu season? Because people run to the doctors. I don't know if they do that in Canada, but here in the US, they go and they get the flu shot. And so that all of a sudden that makes the rest of the herd, it sheds it, you know? And so then you're dealing with all that crap. If you're not boosting your body constantly, look, I talk about our body being the best working machine, right? I'm sure you drive a vehicle, right? You have a car or a truck or whatever it may be.
One of each, they all broken down in the driveway, yeah.
But I mean, you still have to put stuff in it, prevent it, you know, good oil, good gasoline. And if you have a diesel truck and you put gasoline in it, guess what? That engine locks up. You're crap out of luck. You're not going to be driving anywhere. So think about that. Like people treat their vehicles. Well, most people treat their vehicles really well. Again, I'm a farm girl. We treat our stuff we want it to last a really long time. We want to get every last drop out of it. And if you don't take care of your bodies the same way, when anything comes at it, it breaks down that much faster. And therefore you can't get it back going better because you didn't take care of it in the first place.
One thing that I mentioned from time to time, and people still don't believe me, and I get why they wouldn't, is that in the United States and somewhat in Canada, they actually made rules around how diseases are treated. There's rules that say you cannot treat disease with anything other than a pharmaceutical. And that goes right back to kind of what you were saying back in the, I don't know when it was, 20s or 30s or something like that.
30s, 1930s.
1930s. Yeah. They actually had a campaign where they funded the, you know, what we consider modern medicine, pharmaceutical industry, and they suppressed homeopathic medicine, naturopathic medicine. They basically blew it off as witchcraft. As a matter of fact, in some places, they actually considered it witchcraft. And we ended up with the status quo was formal, institutionalized medicine that was oftentimes creating the sickness and then You pay them to create it, and then you pay them to heal it, and it's this never-ending loop. And it is really interesting right now what's going on in the United States. I see you guys have flipped the food pyramid. You're talking about some really interesting things, like out of RFK. Let's talk about some neat things that only 5 years ago would have been considered like lunacy, crackpot stuff, fringe conspiracies. But now they're starting to be talked about, and there's actually evidence to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting you bring that up. I mean, I still eat government stuff, so I'm one of those. I'm like, okay, great, but I mean, where does disease even stem from? Did you know that, the majority, because I talked about viruses, right? And their parasites. So it's interesting, as a livestock owner, horses and stuff like that, we deworm our animals all the time. But a lot of the mass markets of meat industry, I know I'm going down a whole nother rampant hole, because you said you flipped the pyramid. And so then they talk about eating more meats and stuff, right? So I'm still not a huge fan of eating a lot of meat, because unless you're grazing it yourself and you know exactly what's going into that animal, exactly where it's getting butchered, and exactly where it comes from there. Because here's an interesting fact for you to understand. Back when you talked about COVID, so I was raising pigs back then, back in 2018. And if you were going to show these pigs, you had to give them vaccines. So we opted not, because we didn't vaccinate. So I had a girlfriend that did, and same type of pigs. And in 2019, she noticed a lot of her pigs were getting this really nasty respiratory disease. So much so that they couldn't breathe. It was breaking up into pneumonia, and they would die just like that. Interestingly enough, we're like noticing on the vaccines that we talked about, it said COVID-19 on there. And we're like, what is this? Why, what is this that we're injecting into the pigs that is part of the vaccine schedule now? So
What?
Theoretically, yes, go ahead and run down that rabbit hole. So people were getting is injected into their pigs, their cows. And that is where you start to realize where this meat industry is infecting the people. You're getting all of this stuff into your bodies that way. So that's why it's very important what kind of food you're putting into your bodies. So where it's coming from. And if not, then just eat your fruits and veggies, even though that way they're not injected anywhere.
Well, even fruits and veggies, I have a theory and why I eat a lot of meat. I know the environment has tons of things in it, tons of toxins that our bodies don't like. But if I eat an animal from a responsible farmer that's not putting crazy stuff in them, that animal's eating grass, vegetables, whatever feed, then its body is processing and it's filtering and removing toxins itself, right? To some degree. So by the time you get the meat with the nutrients in it, there should be less than if you had just ate, whatever the animal's eating. That's kind of my theory. But it's a really good point that we don't pay attention to what's going into our food.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes when we hear of something that could help us or help our bodies to deal with our environmental dangers better, we just brush it off without looking at it. So we're willing to brush off something that could be beneficial because it doesn't fit the status quo, the accepted narrative. But we're oftentimes not even really concerned about, what's going on with our food that we don't even bother to ask about. That's pretty scary stuff.
Was so scary. You'll find the more you get into eating natural or taking anything, people become massive researchers when you start to share an herbal product. And then you go to their house and you look in their freezer and you're like, you're eating all that? You're drinking a Mountain Dew? Like, do you realize the chemicals you're putting into your body? And you're going to question a one ingredient product that comes from a plant? Really? Like, I'm just using that as an example. But when it comes to anything that has to do with natural healing these days, I'm like, gosh, if you would only know, like, did you ever see or read the story of Wyatt Earp and Young Guns? Do you remember that movie Young Guns way back when?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you remember Val Kilmer. Why can't I think of the cowboy? What he was? His name just. So he was sick.
Emilio.
Do you remember that?
No.
Yes. No, Emilio Estefan. That was Emilio Estefan. Yeah. Butchering the name, but Val Kilmer. What was the name of that cowboy? Oh my goodness.
I can't remember.
I
Doc.
can't remember. Doc.
Yeah.
So he was sick, and you remember he kept drinking this elixir
Yeah.
to help him get better? That was CBD. That was literally only available for the high elite people back then because it was the only thing that was helping people get cured of whatever was bothering them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so back during the prohibition, back then hemp was taken off of the line, and that was one of the best working products to help boost the immune system. It was so crazy because back then, somebody did get to know somebody by the name of Mary Jane, and they broke off the hemp and then bred and created this marijuana. And then we all know the story about that. But no, hemp in itself was a very beneficial product. In fact, it's the only product that can create a naturally fireproof house. You can make concrete out of it. So it's hempcrete, and it's naturally fireproof. Go figure. Why wouldn't we be using that? And it's a lot more cost effective for you to create paper out of it and clothing out of it. The first American flag was made out of hemp. So it's interesting when you start to go down the rabbit hole of what used to be used for healing and then got, your hand slapped and said you can't use it anymore.
Well, here's the neat thing about that. I've always been fascinated with cannabis, not because I'm a hippie and I don't use the products recreationally or anything like that. But if you understand plants at all, or specifically that plant, there's at the time when I was really big into it, there was 227 terpenes or essential oils that plant creates. All do different things. They all do different things when you mix them with each other. So when people talk about a different strain makes them do this or different strain fixes that, it's because those plants actually make the compounds that our bodies need to do specific functions. And it just so happens that a hop has an acid in it that triggers a specific response. And this is all pretty new. This is all pretty new stuff. It's, within the last 30, 40 years, I guess, that the science has really started to be explored. And I really believe that we're just scratching the surface. I mean, we know about 227 essential oils that cannabis produces right now, but really there's probably 5 or 6 or 700. And we're just learning about it. So this is a pretty, this isn't just a one-off thing. This is just one plant with one compound, one extract that's been processed and put in a bottle that you can try out of a world of, of possibilities. So it's not weird science. It's just part of new science, right?
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up. So the hops and the hemp plant are cousins. So it's interesting that they're so powerful in their own way, and they treat things differently, but they also both touch on the endocannabinoid system, which this is why when you take the cannabis, your body knows exactly what to do because it has a system that recognizes it. Now, when it comes to hops and this particular product, pHix, which the medical term is MHA3, and why 3? Because it's 3 bitter acids. So there's a very specific extraction process that we own as a company. It's the whole process. It's a patent pending protected process. So no one's ever going to be able to get it because once you publish a patent, people can then in turn try to figure it out. So it's always going to be patent pending. And so this particular extraction was discovered in 1953. But back then it cost over $1 million a gallon. So for the last 70 years, nobody did anything, but we had researchers that did the research. That's why we have the double-blind human clinical trials that show that this goes after the visceral fat for 9.5 hours. Like I said, yes, there's some rat stories, but the majority of them are human. And there's even a clinical study done that when you put this product in alcohol, it actually turns the metabolism back on. So if you know anything about alcohol, when you drink it, it shuts the metabolism off. That's why people get a beer belly. That's why people gain weight or inflamed. It also has an inflammatory response, all the things, but there's a study that shows that when you put this in alcohol, it turns that metabolism back on. So now I'm not here to promote alcohol or drinking. I'm just saying that that's also what it showed to do when it comes to the studies. So our company acquired this patented process in June of 2024. And so, yeah, it is new. You can't purchase it anywhere else. As an herbalist, I can't make it because I don't know how to extract it. I mean, gosh, if 70 years went by, if people couldn't figure it out, there's no way I'm going to, really spend time. Why? Too, I don't have to do it all. I can just get it from the company and then ship it out. They got all the tools for me. We grow this in New Zealand. The hops were grown in New Zealand. because it's the most pristine land in the world at the moment. So it's very clean. It gets shipped out from there to Maple Grove, Minnesota, where then the extraction process is done. So everything is done in-house. I don't want to do it, but I love sharing about it. It's been so fun and so simple.
I like that you use the word sharing. I'm going to go into that in a second. But first, I want to mention, for those of you that are watching, I've been putting my link. So if you want to try this, you can click the link and go through that. However, don't click my link if you've been invited here by somebody else. If you're invited here by somebody who's already a rep, who's already using the product, please get in touch with them after and ask them for their link. And there's a very specific reason for that. I invite other people on our teams to come and watch these informative podcasts about the product. And those folks, if they presented it to you, then we want to make sure that they get attributed you to their team, because they're the ones that are going to be discussing things with you, and you're going to be in their chat groups, and they're going to be helping you build and all of those things. So use their link, don't use mine. If you're one of my viewers and you're interested, by all means, go ahead and you can sign up through this link that I just put in the comments. If you can't find it, I'll post it again afterwards, and you can find it on my Facebook page. But that's very important. I just want to make sure that folks know that. If you're invited by someone else, get in touch with them to sign up. If you're one of my regular viewers, feel free to click on my link. And that's a really good segue into the word you use, which is sharing. I've tried some network marketing, some multi-level affiliate marketing things before, and I never had any success. I was always disappointed, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. But when I started thinking about this structure, and my friend George had presented it to me, and he said, "Yeah, it's a affiliate marketing thing." I kind of was like, "Okay, I got to wrap my head around this." And I realized from listening to the people on the Zoom call, there's a very good reason why this product is marketed in that way. It's because this product needs a story to go with it. They don't spend millions of dollars advertising on TV and trying to get people just to go into the store and buy it. What they're doing is people are trying it. They're having good results. They're sharing their results naturally, because we talk about the good things that are happening in our lives. And then their friends, their family that have a trusting relationship with them, they're trying it as well. That's the way this works. So the whole idea of sharing is absolutely critically important. And that's why it's also important that if somebody has presented this to you, that you sign up through them, because they're the ones that are going to be communicating with you and sharing. And you have all these testimonials. Like if you go, the website has so many people's stories on there about their successes. And yes, there are some people that maybe they don't see results and it's not for them. But I have found hardly any of that on any of the online stuff. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I got to sit here and think, like I've been here for 15 months, and about the only people that say it don't work are the ones that are like, I needed to get on here to lose weight, and I'm like, I didn't lose all the weight I wanted to lose, so it don't work. I'm like, okay, great. Go find something else that makes for that. But this is for me root cause healing. This is for me something that I'm going to be on for a very long time. And I had to have surgery about 8-9 weeks ago. And I was under for about 3 hours. So I started taking a double dose of this. The surgeon was like, I can't believe how fast you're healing. Like, you had like hardly any side effects or nothing. Like, I didn't take any pain medication afterwards, by the way. I remember when I was waking up, the nurse was like, you sure you don't want some oxycodone? You don't want some of this? I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine. No, I don't want that. I'm like, I'm waking out of anesthesia. I already got enough of stuff going on. I haven't touched anything in so long. So it was really hard to wake up from that. But needless to say, like, I didn't have to take anything. And that was shocking. I thought for sure I'd be like in a lot of pain, but nope, didn't have any issues. But I started on it right away, and it just helps your body just balance out, get rid of the junk, and you just feel good. So as far as people not having any results, I've yet to see that. To me, it's like, what result am I going to hear now? Like, it's so fun to hear the new ones all the time.
Shoot, I had a question and then I forgot what it was. Oh, no, it was about questions. Yeah, so folks, this is a good time to get your questions in the comments. If you have a question, please put a bunch of question marks in front of it so that as I'm scrolling through it, I can see it quickly, because there's a lot of comments on my side. I'm watching six different platforms. So what you see in the comments is not what I see. So make sure you put the question marks up there, and we'll try and get to your questions.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh,
think
you have
now,
me streaming on 6 different platforms. Wow, it's a good thing you didn't tell me that at first. I think it's just like one little thing here. I'm like, whoa, okay.
no,
My
we
world.
usually get a pretty good turnout, pretty good response for this stuff, because people are really interested and they want to take back control of their health, of their wellness, right? I think people are like completely sick of relying on somebody else to save them, whether it's finances or health or politics or whatever. And now they want to be involved, and they want to be sovereign over their own bodies and lives. And so we get a pretty good turnout for these things. But this is a great time. We've talked about the product. You've explained a lot of things, and I'm sure there'll be some questions. Why don't we just touch on the structure of the business a little bit? How has that worked out for you? Like, what was your initial thoughts when you first got into this? Did you think that you'd be where you are now?
Absolutely not. No, because every time I would try to do something like you were saying earlier, I got flopped on. I got lied to. The product wasn't what they said it was going to do, or they changed the formula. That happens quite often, or there was just a lot of yuck. And so when this got introduced to me in June of 2024, I was not in a very good place financially, to be honest with you. So this wasn't something that I looked at like, oh, this is the next big $1 billion product, I'm going to start sharing this. No, it was like, oh my gosh, I can't afford to get in. And it's not even that expensive. But I got shared this in June of 2024. I told the person that reached out to me, I'm going to keep researching this. I'm going to make a commitment and get started in October. And so with that, I saved up, got started. So I'm the person that there's a story going around that we went to the grocery store with a baggie full of coins. That's how bad off we were. Like, we had to count what we were getting there. And so I asked my son to bring my dog. So I was going to use her as a demonstration for you. And so needless to say, when I started using this, I thought, like I said at the beginning, this was snake oil. It had no taste. I'm like, this is not going to do anything. Well, until it did. I had friends that had, I have a friend that had a daughter who had an illness, which again, I'm not going to name it, but just to visualize this, she used to pass out quite a bit, and she would have seizures, and she'd be laying on the ground. She had multiple seizures a week. And so she's had them for 13 years, and we've tried a lot of things to help her. And so we started putting her on it. And she would have these seizures, like I said, multiple times a week. And I checked back in with him at the end of the month. I'm like, how'd it go this month? And he's like, I wasn't going to say anything because, you don't want anything to be too good to be true. And he said to me that, from going from multiple times a week, it went down to about 3 times a week. So then the next month came. He reaches out to me. He's like, he goes, you gave me my daughter back.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, we went through this whole month, Allison, and she probably had like 2 seizures. And he's like, this 13 years of, the daughter was in her mid-20s. And to know that they could never leave home, if you don't know what that's like, always be in there, because if you don't catch them, they're gonna not make it through. And then the next month he calls me and he tells me, I knew his wife was going through a lot of mental illnesses where she couldn't remember things. You know how older people get, where they can't remember things and they get diagnosed with a certain illness, where they forget a lot. They can't remember the day after day. You know what I'm talking about? So he calls me up and he said, after that, it's 3 months in, he goes, not only did you give me my daughter back, you gave me my wife back. And I'm like, really? He goes, she woke up this morning and she remembered everything I said to her the night before, and she hasn't done that in the last 5 years. He's like, I don't know what we're doing here, but we got something that's going to change people's lives. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I better get a little bit louder about this. I better start calling people. I better start sharing. I have no idea what this is going, but this is the first time, Chris, that I didn't look at this as this is the next big thing. I looked at this is going to help thousands upon thousands, 10,000s of people all over the world. And so because of that conviction, I just continued to share. I didn't have anybody distracting me. I went on, blinders on, and I opened my voice. I started calling people. I was not that person. I didn't call people to tell people about a product. I was hoping that someday they would say, hey, I need help. I was not that person. I am a huge introvert. So I just kept sharing and sharing. Then I had a girlfriend reach out to me in March, and she's like, hey, are you going to tell me about this? I'm like, I told you about it back in October. You said no, because it's a thing. It's one of them things. And she goes, yeah, but I'm interested now. And I'm like, really? So then she gets on board. Well, she's a big leader in the network marketing space. So she took off, and then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then a year, 2025, June, I'll never forget walking into that same grocery store. I was counting my coins, and I'm walking in there, and I'm like that gut feeling, like when you go to check out, if you've ever lived through that, like, is my card going to be declined? How does that, that's
Yeah,
a horrible feeling. Oh, and I sat back and I thought to myself, and I'm like, a year ago, I couldn't afford this. And here I am today because I put people before profits. I put people before anything. I cared so much because this was changing lives on a huge level. And so now going into this, if people knew the kind of income I was bringing in because of a product, not because I have some crazy network of people, not because I'm lucky or any of that, because I trusted this. And over and over and over again, stories are pouring in. We get on every week and share our testimonials. And I brought this dog up. This was my first gift to myself. This is River. She's a little miniature schnauzer. And when I bought her, she was sick. She had kennel cough as a puppy. And they had her in all kinds of stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start seeing if this stuff works. And yeah, this stuff works. She got over it so quick, much quicker than she was with any of the other medications. She knows her job. She's got on here to look cute and take pHix. But needless to say, it has made an impact on so many different lives. And so now today, I grew an organization of over 19,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
For 13 months, I hit the very top rank of the company. And again, I don't share that to brag. There's no way I could have done this other than, I know God put me here for a purpose. I thought I came here for a product, but now it's these people are getting inspired because of the story I shared. All the other stuff aside, at the end of the day, all I care about is helping people get to the root cause of what's hurting them and helping them see that there's more to life than doom and gloom. So yeah, there's a huge business aspect to this. Like, think about getting in at the beginning of Apple. If you would have known what you know now, that's kind of what this is about. It's an exclusive product to our company. We have a patent pending protection over this extraction. People can't duplicate it. So if you're in a business mindset, and if you put that business cap on, you realize this could help you both ways. Now, if you put profit before people, we all know what happens there. You're doing this because you care about people. You're going to have success, is the way I look at it.
That's my thing. Is I do this podcast, and I pretty much just share with people what I'm learning. And it's like it's kind of like I'm going somewhere. I don't know where really, but I'm sharing what I'm learning, and they're coming with me. Right. So, if you're watching this, folks, and you become part of the team, you click the link that I just put down there. As you develop your own story and your own testimony, you're going to naturally want to share it with people. Mm-hmm. And those people, they're probably going to be skeptics, just like I was. And they're going to want to dive into it. So you're going to be able to say, hey, like, we got some information at this specific place, and it's just a random, everyday, average Albertan who did the research and put the information in his blog, right? And I'm going to do videos like this once a week, so that people who are interested and can come and listen, they can hopefully it's enough information for them to take a chance. And if not, then maybe it's enough to get them asking about it and thinking about it. But I will remind you, folks, because of the structure of this, if you do take the chance and you say, hey, this sounds legit, I want to try it, I want to see what it does for me, and then I want to share this with other people and build something, the ones that start earlier, they're going to do substantially better. That's the key. But there's only, I think Terry said there's only like 80,000 people that use this worldwide.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of growth
opportunity.
Huge. Yeah.
Let's talk about what also makes this different, Chris.
Sure.
There's no other product on the market that I know of other than water that literally is safe for anybody of any age. Any animal can take it. There's zero negative side effects. does not interact negatively with any medication. Why do we know this? Because we have doctors that done hours upon hours upon hours of research. They threw this into their computers and put it in there so they could find it out. We have so many medical professionals like coming on board. It's just on the phone today with another huge doctor who just opened a huge wellness center. And they're totally intrigued with this because people want help, like you said. They don't know where to go. Everything has negative side effects. There's nothing out there like this. So that's why for me, timing does matter. Yeah, we're still babies. He asked me earlier when he found out what I was doing here. He's like, you must have got in early. I'm like, no. I just had that much passion about what I was doing, and it just happened to work out for me.
Somebody actually did ask about side effects. Are there any side effects?
No. I can say the only thing, to be honest with you, because you like to be honest on here, that's who I am. Some people, again, once a day, if you're going to be taking this product, I am encouraging you to start out at once a day, first thing in the morning. You put it in whatever you're drinking in the morning and drink it down. Don't up the dose. Can you? Yes. Some people take it twice a day. Some people take 2 doses at one time. I did after I had surgery. So if you, at the beginning, are taking this product and your body's full of a lot of toxins, some people do get a little bit constipated. Why? Because they're not moving their lymphatic system enough. They're not drinking enough fluids. They're not drinking enough hydration. They're not doing anything to help the body move the toxins through. So very quick, easy fix. Wake up the next morning, first thing, take your own hydration drink, which is 46 ounces of room temperature water, put some 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice in it and a pinch of sea salt, drink her down. That'll get all of your organs cleansed and moving, and you won't have that issue. Also, if somebody is on medication, there are particular medications that I do know of that people are overprescribed. It's interesting. They get on pHix, and sometimes they start to feel a little bit dizzy. They'll start to feel a little bit lightheaded. And I'm like, go tell your doctor your medication is making you dizzy and lightheaded, because that's why. pHix is trying to help your body go into this balanced state of homeostasis, and your medicine is throwing you out, and that medicine is making you dizzy. And every single time people go back to their doctor and tell them, hey, this XYZ medicine's making me feel dizzy, they cut the medicine back or even go off of it, and they have a perfectly healthy lifestyle. So as far as that goes, no, there is no negative side effects. That is literally the only things that I've ever heard so far.
Almost as if maybe it's beneficial for certain people that we remain on medicine or something. I don't know. Could be.
Sorry. That it's beneficial for them to stay on medicine?
No, it's beneficial for some people that we stay on medicine.
Oh,
not necessarily for us.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to scroll through the comments. I did see some question marks there, and we're just about an hour, so that's almost perfect. There's some questions. There's some specific questions on specific symptoms, and I'm going to take a jab at this, no pun intended. Like Terry says, it's not about what this does, it's about what it is. It's a compound that triggers your body to do what your body is supposed to do. So if the thing that you need help with is something that your body can deal with on its own, if it has the right tools and right environment to do it, then by all standards, it should do that. What would you say to people that are asking about specific symptoms, Alison?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because see, there again, we're programmed to I have this illness, so I need this product to fix this illness. Again, as an herbalist, I've done the same thing. If somebody comes at me with certain symptoms, I give them whatever herb or tincture that I think is going to help them with that thing. This is completely different. This is actually getting your body to do the healing. It's not the product. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. Have I heard what you were asking, that question that popped up there? Yes, I've heard of it. But it doesn't matter what your body is dealing with. So your body, because it's got a different DNA makeup, your body is full of different toxins. It responds to toxins a different way. Your symptoms to your toxin level and your inflammation level are going to be different from everybody. That's why there's so many different illnesses. So because I state that, understand this. No matter what your body is going through, when you start taking this product, you're going to start to see results with whatever it is that you're going through. Again, yes, this is a different type of a product. It gets your body, it turns it on just like a light switch.
What if you're 80 years old? Does it matter how old you are?
Absolutely not. Nope. It doesn't matter if you're an infant. I have babies taking this, and I have people that are in their 90s and older taking it. Absolutely. In fact, it's interesting. One of the doctors now discovered, because of all his extensive research, he started seeing that when you're on this 6 months or longer, it's regenerating stem cells. How interesting is that? It's actually changing the DNA molecular structure in the body because of how far it's taking the body into this state of homeostasis. I was just on a call last night with a lady who is 74 years old, liver transplant. Now, if you know anything about transplant patients, they're probably the hardest patients to be able to take anything because the body is constantly living in that rejection period. And so it is huge. She started taking pHix. She was on there for about 15 minutes telling me all of the things that have increased in her body, how much better she's living and thriving and sleeping, and all of the things she was dealing with before because of the transplant are gone. So that to me speaks volumes because of the fact that we can give this to a transplant patient.
I get this one all the time. There's another question that's similar to it. They asked if it was an Alberta company. Yes, this is a U.S. company and a U.S. product.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why in Canada you must be a rep in order to purchase is because in Canada, the way the rules are, it's not for resale. So you can't just go to my website and buy a bottle of this and then I sell it to you. It's not, I can't sell it like that. You have to be buying it for personal use. So you become, you get your membership, you become an ISR, you can order your product. Your product will work probably very good for you, and you're going to want to share that. And then within hopefully a short amount of time, you have a team, and maybe you're earning enough to pay for your product. That's kind of how you're the one that gets paid the commission to do the marketing rather than some big conglomerate that puts TV ads. But yes, it is a U.S. company. And I, for one, am not one of the elbows up people. I'm more than happy to work with our friends and neighbors down south. I think the whole elbows up thing is absolutely ridiculous, but that's another topic.
Because we own all the aspects of the shipping and everything, we're not having to deal with all the tariffs. So a lot of people ask me when all that happened, when we had our presidency switch or whatever, people ask all like crazy, what are the tariffs? Are they putting tariff? Nope, we're good. Yeah.
And I just answered this question. Do you have to be a member? Can you just buy the product? If you're in the United States, you can just buy the product. If you're in Canada, you have to be a sales rep. But either way, if you're going to try the product, you may as well sign up as a sales rep, because if it's working good for you and you have a good story and you want to share it, then why would you not want to be in a good position to earn some money on it? There's a lot of people, and my team in particular, they've replaced a lot of their income. And I'm not saying that's going to happen for everybody, but from the sounds of it, it seems like people that want to do the work and they want to build, they've got a really good shot at actually doing something, which is rare in this type of thing. And Terry talks about, he goes into that in more detail. I did a podcast roughly a week ago. Yeah, it was exactly a week ago, last Wednesday with Terry. And Terry explains some of the reasons why this is such a good opportunity with this type of marketing structure. He explains how the check match works. He explains how the commissions work. And it's unlike other things. So if you have a bad taste in your mouth from something else, you may as well just ignore that and at least try the product first. And it seems like the structure is working much better for the people that want to do the work.
Yeah, it's so I woke up this morning with an epiphany. So I usually lay in bed and like meditate for a while. And it came to my mind that 2 avenues, well, probably 3, like, are the best network marketers in the world. And you know what I came up with, Chris? TikTok and Facebook and Instagram are the best network marketers in the world. I mean, think about it. They're the ones that are hiring all these affiliates or getting all these affiliates to share product, and they're making a commission off of all these people sharing all these different products. I mean, it's no different than what we're doing. And I feel like, I know this industry has got a bad rep, and it's because of bad people. People have not done this industry a due diligence. But at the end of the day, it's interesting. The person that brought me in, per se, people say it's a pyramid. The person that brought me into this company is making less money than me. So this is not a pyramid. In fact, the person that brought Terry in is making a lot less money than Terry.
Wow.
Yes. So this is not like a pyramid. The person at the top makes all the money. No. Nope. You are responsible for your own business. I outranked my sponsor. He outranked his sponsor. He's making, he's the number one income earner. I'm the number two income earner. So it's, I think anyway, I shouldn't say that so boldly, but we're both crown diamonds with the company. So I would think that, but it could be somebody's having more check matches. I don't know. But it's interesting how that works. When I worked in corporate America, I used to do mortgages. I was a mortgage broker. The CEO of the bank I was working with used to send us a Christmas thing every year and say he just made his, he just wanted to share his bonus for the year. He just, had to lower it this year to $7 million. It was 10 million, but he only could do 7 million. I'm like, doing what? Pushing a button all day long while I'm out doing all the loan work, So You would never make more than that CEO of the company. You never would. Here, we outmake all of corporate. We make more than the owner of the company. So, I mean, that speaks volumes.
And that's where, part of the price of the product is the marketing is built into that. That's how the product is getting out there and getting in front of people, because people are sharing it. And folks, if you want to try it, if you want to take a chance, I think the odds are pretty much in your favor, because and the reason why I start with just the product is because the product seems fantastic, right? So if for nothing else, what's the value of improving your wellness? That's pretty valuable, but the opportunity that's presented is also good as well. And that's, I would say, most of us, the two major things in our life that we always wish we had more or better of is better wellness and health and a little more money. And there's an opportunity to have both. Take it or leave it. I hope you take it.
Yeah, that's one way to bring it all to a close. And it's interesting because our company is called Marketplace Global. And so we are a marketplace of products. And I love to tell people, if you're going to start buying your products from different stores, why wouldn't you get yourself in the door with this and then show them the store of all the other products? I mean, I get all of my household products now from this particular company, and it's all minerals, super safe. I don't have to make my own anymore. So it saves me a lot of time on top of it. But this product here does so much that it's replacing a lot of other supplements that people were buying. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, I was actually going through the Marketplace Global store today, just trying to find a couple other things like maybe I could try or try and recommend. And there is a lot of stuff there. I had no idea. I really didn't, because the only thing that's really promoted is pHix, right?
Yeah. So sometime maybe you'd have to get me back on and I can talk about our NZ Fulvic, because those are my two powerful products. In fact, I talked earlier about parasites, and the NZ Fulvic, that's what it does, is it goes after the parasites in your body, the heavy metals, all of the junk. Yeah. Yup. So those are the two products that I really heavily promote. And all it is 70 trace minerals. And our bodies are all made of minerals. We come from the earth and we go back and disintegrate into the earth. And so if you're not putting the minerals into the body, your body can't be its optimal self. And so the Fulvic, again, if somebody's starting to feel something come on, I tell them to take a couple doses of that during the day. And then poof, they're like, okay, I guess that was in and out real fast. I'm like, yeah, again, viruses are parasites. So if you're taking something to get rid of it, you're good to go.
Well, maybe we should think about circling back next week, and maybe we'll talk about some of those other products. I'm more than happy to do that. We might have to make it a different day, though. As it turns out, Alberta is also taking control of its sovereignty. So right now we have a massive movement to leave Confederation. Albertans are sick of the situation we're in. We're sick of a lot of things, and Alberta is absolutely on fire right now with people who are standing up for themselves and their families. So tonight in Red Deer, Alberta, there was an event with a petition signing, and I saw some videos, and there are thousands of people there. They're coming out like crazy. So in the midst of this, taking control of wellness and working on my finances, Alberta is also doing something amazing too, which I'm part of. So you never know when there's going to be something big going on. So hopefully we can do it Wednesday, but maybe it might be Tuesday or Thursday, and I'll get in touch with you and I'll let you know. And folks, I'll figure it out right away, and I'll put the event up so that you can mark it on your calendars. You can invite your friends. After you sign up tonight, which I'm sure there's probably a few of you doing that, you can invite some of your friends that might be interested in these types of things. Join us next week on the same type of podcast, ask the same type of questions, and we'll just keep learning together. And it's actually a lot of fun for me. So I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you folks joining. So thank you. And you too, Alison. It was great to have you on. Lots of good information.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so glad I can't see everybody watching. It just feels like I'm talking to you. So
yeah, don't worry,
super good. Super proud of you of what all you're doing for humanity. Honestly, Chris, like you're really making a difference in this world. And that's what this is all about, you know, helping the world be a better place. So good for you.
Well, thank you. We're sure trying. All right. You have a great night. Give your dog a little scratch for me, and we'll see you next week. Maybe talk to you tomorrow or something.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Hope you guys have a blessed evening.
Okay. Good night. Well, there you go. Second episode talking about pHix and Marketplace Global. Joining me on my journey of learning, apparently. I thought that I was done learning when I graduated grade 12, but apparently that was not the case. And as it turns out, I've learned more about this type of thing in the last 5 years than I have in the rest of my life. So thank goodness for something happening where reality slapped me in the face and made me say, hey, I need to start learning some more. I hope that's why you folks are here as well. Like I said before, if you're interested in the product, I did share a link in the comments. I'm going to put it up again right now. This is my link so that when you click this link and you sign up, you're on my team. If you're invited by somebody else that's already a rep with MPG, use their link. Reach out to them afterwards, ask them for their link, sign up through them, and we can all build together and make sure that the people that we have been communicating with are the people that we're in business with too. That's kind of the way it works. If you have any other questions, please post them in the comments with the question marks. I do go through after, in the next couple of days, and I'll go through the questions. I'll pick out some clips of the video and I'll post them kind of as an answer to the questions that you leave after the fact, so that I want to make sure that we answer everything. And you're more than welcome to share those videos. Even this video, you can clip pieces out of it if you want, share it with your friends, whatever you want to do. It's all fair game. And like I said before, if you have other questions and you want to know some more about some of the studies, papers, research that is associated with this mechanism to do with matured bitter hop acid extracts, go ahead and check out whistlestoptruckstop.ca/blog. You can scroll down to this blog, pHix, Bitter Compounds, and the Vagus Nerve. I put it all together in a 20-minute read with the citations and the footnotes at the bottom, so you can go ahead and check out the papers that I cited and make the decision for yourself. But I think once you do, you're going to find that this isn't just it's not just a magic elixir Facebook trend. It's the real deal. And all the receipts are there to prove it. So take that for what you will. Feel free to share it. And I will see you very likely tomorrow, because Alberta's really doing some cool things, and I'm going to try and share that with you as well. So I'm going to find out what's happening tomorrow. I'm going to be there, get you some videos. Actually, I might be speaking somewhere tomorrow. I should probably find out. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, folks. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next time. Meow. I don't have anything earth-shattering to say other than that's my cat Stumpy, just so you know. Isn't she pretty? Good night.